want to talk today about a father's heart. To all the dads, happy Father's Day. To those on Facebook, happy Father's Day. To the single moms, I applaud you for doing the best you can as a single mom. However, we're not celebrating you. Okay? You can never be a dad. Okay? A single mom can no longer be a dad, like a single dad can no longer be a mom, right? That don't happen. And I know the world says, no, let's wish the mothers, single moms, happy Father's Day. However, God is the father to the fatherless. So don't deny that child to be taken care of by our Heavenly Father. The Bible says that God will take care of the widows and the orphans. And so if a child doesn't have a father, then God will be his father. So single moms that are watching, listening, please, we applaud you. You're doing an awesome job as a mom. That's what God created you to be, and let God be their dad. Okay? I wish to speak on the father's heart and what a father's heart should be. First, I want to remind you that according to the Bible, God is our Father, and we say this constantly when we're reciting the Lord's Prayer, the famous Lord's Prayer. Our Father. So we say it constantly. It's not my Father, it's not your Father, it's our Father. And He is the Father of fathers. And He is our Heavenly Father. So I want you to know that if anybody can show us how to really have a father's heart, it's God the Father. He can really show us a father's heart. Now I know it's Father's Day, so I want to focus on the father's heart, but I also want you to know that this father's heart is not just once a year. God's heart is always with us constantly. And hopefully today I want to use the life of Abraham to describe a little bit of a father's heart and some things that he let me see, because Abraham was the shadow of what was to come, but Abraham was also the shadow of our Heavenly Father. Genesis chapter 22, verse 1 through 18. Now your version might be a little different than mine. I'm going to read the Message Bible because it tells it more like a story. And I enjoy that, especially in what I want to share today. I want to share the story of Abraham. After all this, God tested Abraham. I know that the King James says tempted. However, the word tempted there means tested, because according to the Bible, God never tempts man. He cannot be tempted, nor will he tempt you. So the correct interpretation of that word is not that God tempted Abraham, is that God tested Abraham. And not because he didn't know. God knows all things. It's so that Abraham could know what a real father's heart had to be. Why? For what reason? Because Abraham, according to the scriptures, we are part of the blessing of Abraham, the covenant God made with Abraham. The Gentiles, which is us, according to the book of Hebrews and Romans, we're partakers of that same promises. So the promises God gave Abraham, he gave to us. So that's why we call him the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, but in order for him to become the patriarch that we know him, he needed to understand how a real father's heart was. Because you have to remember that he had two sons. The story is not based on the first one, because the first one was a son he birthed out of the flesh. The second one was a child that God gave him miraculously. Amen? And that's the child that he loved, because that child was given to him from God. So it says here, after all this, God tested Abraham. God said, Abraham, remember that word? God said, Abraham, yes. Answered Abraham, I'm listening. Verse 2, he said, take your dear son, Isaac, whom you love. Whom you love. Remember, he had two sons. I'm not saying he didn't love Ishmael. He did, because he felt bad when he had to let him out. But he really loved Isaac, because he knew where that son came from, whom that son came from. And go to the land of Moriah, sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I'll point out to you. In other words, he said, go and sacrifice your son, Isaac, whom you love dearly. Go and sacrifice him. And I'm going to show you where you need to go. Because that's how God is. And are visionaries. They see something, they see a future. They see something that God wants to take them to. And this is the difference between men and women. Women are more secure. They like security. They like stability. They like comfort. So when the husband says we need to move, the wife goes, wait a minute. I don't think so. Where are we going to? What's the benefits? And they start asking all these questions because they want to go from something stable to something stable. However, in God told Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, leave your family and go to a land that I'll show you. He didn't even know where he was going, and he had to leave everything behind. And his wife followed. We don't know her side, but knowing how women think, I guarantee you she wasn't that happy. I guarantee it. Because women love security, and that's okay. That's how you were made. Because there's a balance. Because sometimes visionaries are going too far, too fast, and they need someone putting on the brakes for them, or not putting on the brakes, but at least holding them back so they won't run ahead of God. So if they work together, it'll work. But the problem is that most of the times men and women are fighting. The man wants to go to the vision God is showing him, and the woman wants to stay where she's comfortable. Instead of understanding, yes, we can go, but let's go slower than you want to go. Okay? So anyway, he said, I'll point out to you, verse 3, Abraham got up early in the morning and saddled his donkey. He took 2 of his young servants and his son Isaac. Notice here, he knows what God told him. Sacrifice your son as a burnt offering. In other words, there was no room for Abraham to wonder, what is God meaning? God told him, take your son, whom you love dearly, and sacrifice him as a burnt offering. He knew what he was going to do. No doubt in his mind that he was going to go sacrifice his son. And even though he knew that he was going to sacrifice his son, guess what? He didn't take the mother. We don't know if he told the mom. The Bible doesn't say. Imagine if I was to tell my wife, God is telling me to go sacrifice my son. That'll be World War III. That'll be a battle. Right? Even though I said, but God told me. How do you know it was God? You know, the devil is a lie. You know, because that's a mother's heart. I understand that. So he didn't take his wife. He only took 2 of his servants, right? And he took Isaac. That was it. He didn't take the mom. Nothing against mom, but you know, we're talking about Father's Day, but we're talking about a father's heart, a true father. And a true father knows, hey, you know what? God is telling me to do something. I need to do what's best. So he set out with his son. He had split wood for the burnt offering. He set out for the place God had directed him. Notice here in the Message Bible, he set out to a place God directed him. As children of God, we need to understand something. The Bible says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God, ordained by God. In other words, God knows where he wants to take us. What's our responsibility? Go where God is taking us. That's why his commission in the book of Matthew chapter 28, the last verses, I want to say 18, 19, says, go and make disciples. He didn't say stay and bring them. He said go. And if you ever look at what God is saying, he always telling people, go. Go. He told Paul, go to the house on Straight Street, and you're going to be told what you need to go. So God is always sending us, because he's apostolic. Apostolic means sent one. And as children of God, we need to understand that we are apostolic. In other words, God is going to tell us, go. What's the problem? We don't want to go. Why don't we want to go? Because we're comfortable. We know this. Whatever you're at, you know it. You know, you already know what you're going to do. And to go to another land, to go to another place, to go somewhere and do something you've never done before, that's challenging. And a little scary too, because it's new. Right? Imagine if I was to tell Marcy, I want you to go and go back to school, right? And she was like, but I didn't have no time, and when am I gonna do it? And what about Kitty, but you understand what I'm saying, and then for her to go back and start all over, it's like, just start thinking. It's scary, right? And if like God was to tell me to go back to school, first thing I would say, I go in the classroom, they're gonna think I'm the teacher because how old I am, and then I'm gonna be a student, and so it's all those changes are different. But he said that he went to the place God directed him. We have to understand that as children of God, God is always directing us. He's always directing us. When you're driving, He's directing you. Sometimes you miss your turn. We think we missed our turn, and in reality, it was probably God directing us to avoid an accident. You don't know, I don't know, but God is always directing us. He's always showing us. The thing is that we're not understanding that, or we're not listening. And whenever God directs us, trust me, if He's sending you somewhere, it's not so things will be worse. Even though in the beginning it might seem like it because it's new, but it's so things can be better for the future. And when I finish, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay? On the third day, he looked up and saw the place in the distance. Remember I told you that this story is a shadow of what was to come. Isaac was going to be sacrificed. And it said here on the third day, well, Jesus was sacrificed, on the third day he was resurrected. All right, and we're going to see the meaning of that. Okay, he looked up and saw the place in a distance. Abraham told his two young servants, stay here with the donkey. The boy and I are going over there to worship. Notice what he said. The boy and I are going over there to worship. Not to sacrifice, to worship. Because don't you know that your sacrifice or obedience to God is an act of worship? It's not just when we raise our hands and sing songs. It's the way you live your life. And following God's direction, that's an act of worship. That's why the Bible says the true worshipers will worship me in spirit and in truth. What does that mean? That means the true worshipers understand I'm going to follow God and do what God is telling me to do. And in my obedience, in my sacrificing, whatever I need to sacrifice, be it people, be it things, or be it places, it's an act of worship. That part always ministers to me, that he's getting ready to sacrifice. See, he didn't know God was going to stop him. He knew what God told him to do. So in his mind, he was going with a purpose, which was to sacrifice his son as a burnt offering, to kill him. He knew that God gave him to him miraculously, because the Bible says that Sarah and him could no longer have children, and then she got pregnant. That was a miracle. So he knew that, hey, if God gave me this one, He can give me another one. But I'm going to obey God, because the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's real easy to say that. Hard to do though. And what we see here is that he understood this is an act of worship. It wasn't painful. See, when you look at what you're losing, you will always see it as something painful. When you look at what you think God wants to take away from you or to give up, and you don't want to, you're always going to look at it as painful. But when you change the way, because either way, if it's God's will, it's going to happen. So you have a choice. Enjoy it, feel the pain. He said, you know what? God told me to do this. I'm going to do it regardless. I'm going to do it. And he started feeling joy. That's why he said, and they going over there to worship. You understand what it is when you really let go? And you follow God's direction? That's an act of true worship. Now you understand why the Bible says the true worshipers will worship me in spirit and truth. Because there's not many true worshipers. Worshipers, we normally think of worshipers as choirs, or praise singers, or musicians, the worship team. That's what we think is worship. However, God has another idea of what a worshiper is. I'm not saying that they don't worship. What I'm saying is that you worship God in your life. things that you do. And then he says, then we'll come back to you. Verse 6. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and gave it to Isaac his son to carry. This is prophetic. I told you Abraham signified God the Father, symbolic. Isaac signified Jesus Christ. Who carried the wood? The Father or the Son? Jesus Christ. And here we see that Abraham gave him the wood to carry. And this is prophetic because the Father gave the Son the cross. It wasn't man. God used men, but in reality, it was the Father that took him to the cross. And when I finish, you can understand this. It was the Father. And this is hard for us to understand. Is that I'm trying to get you to understand how God the Father thinks. He's not just thinking about Jesus, he's thinking about all of us. And that's why he didn't have a problem of giving Jesus the cross to carry. If Jesus doesn't carry that cross, we're not here today. If Jesus doesn't carry the cross, we're still following the old covenant. We're still under the law and not under grace in the new covenant. He carried the flint and the knife, Abraham did. And the two of them went off together. Now notice, he carried the flint to burn, to start the fire, but he also carried the knife, the instrument. Because that's what we need to understand, that if the Father does not want Jesus Christ to die, Jesus Christ does not die. Jesus even said it. He said, you don't take my life, I freely give it. Can I prove that? And we're going to see this right here too. Isaac said to Abraham his father. So Isaac now talks, said to Abraham his father, Father, yes, my son, we have flint and wood, but there's no sheep for the burnt offering. Verse 8, Abraham said, Son, God will see to it that there's sheep for burnt offering. Both times they say sheep. Isaac said, where's the sheep? Don't worry about it. God will provide the sheep. And they kept on walking together. They arrived at the place to which God had directed him. Abraham built an altar. He laid out the wood. Then he tied up Isaac and laid him on the wood. Abraham reached out and took the knife to kill his son. I'm going to stop there. Remember I told you a little while ago, Jesus Christ did not, no one took his life. He said, no one can take my life, I freely give it. Isaac was about 12 years old. His father was about 112, 15 years old. You think a 100-year-old man would take a 12-year-old boy, tie him up, and lay him out if he didn't want to? That means Isaac willingly allowed, he didn't question it. Because remember, he said, where's the sheep? And they said, don't worry, God will supply the sheep. And then they walked a little further, and his father began to tie him up. In Isaac's mind, I guess I'm the sheep. And if he was doubting it, when he laid him on the altar that they made, oh, I guess I am the sheep. He didn't scream, he didn't cry, he didn't complain. He freely was offering himself as a sacrifice, out of obedience to the Father. Right? Because the Father said God will provide. Remember, Abraham and Isaac is symbolic of God the Father and God the Son. So Isaac freely allowed himself to be tied up and freely allowed himself to be sacrificed. The same thing Jesus Christ did. Out of obedience to the Father. I'll be the sheep. That's why we call him the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. This story is more profound than we ever really realized. Isaac, I'm thinking of me at 12 years old. If I couldn't have fought my father, because we were taught don't hit back, I know I could have outran him. Especially at 12 years old. Maybe not now, but I know at 12 years old, I know I could have. And the moment I see him grab that rope, I'm gone. I'm gone. You want me to be that sacrifice? You're going to have to catch me. Right? Isaac did not. Isaac willingly allowed himself to be tied up. Like Jesus willingly allowed himself to be captured. Because the tying up means captured. And he willingly allowed. Remember that Peter took a sword and cut off the soldier's ear? And he said, hey, those that live by the sword shall die by the sword. Don't you know that if I was to ask my Father right now, he would send a legion of angels to fight? That means whatever group they had, 20, 30 men, God could have sent 12,000, the legion of 12,000, 12,000 angels to defend him. He said, don't you know I could? He willingly allowed himself to be captured. He willingly allowed himself to be beaten. He willingly allowed himself to be scourged and spit upon. He willingly allowed himself to be put on the cross and nailed. He willingly allowed himself to be crucified. He willingly allowed to die for us. Amen. And the Father willingly watched all this happen, having the power to stop it at any moment. You understand a true father's heart? A true father's heart knows that there's things that they have to go through. What's the problem? A lot of times we as parents, we mean well. We say this, I don't want my children to go through what I went through. I understand that. But do you know that what you went through made you the person that you are? And is that really a bad thing? Unless you're really bad. Then if you're really bad, then this don't apply to you. But is it really a bad thing? It formed character. It formed substance. It formed dependence on God. It formed a relationship with God. If it wasn't for something tough in your life, trust me, none of us would have been here, because God usually uses pain or suffering or some kind of traumatic experience, a drug overdose. God always uses something where you hit rock bottom to catch you. So if it wasn't for that, mine was a stroke. The stroke was not a curse. It was a blessing. It saved my life. However, God did not bring the stroke. God was trying to prevent me from having it. But I, in my disobedience, kept living the way. But God didn't want that for me. But if I didn't want to listen, he said, okay, do things your way. One thing I noticed about the children today, they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't want to listen. They don't respect. They talk back. You're the one giving them everything, and they forget what you did for them just an hour ago. They huff and puff and they give you attitude. Like they're doing you a favor. The best lesson for those children are? Life. Life. If I'm that bad for you, and I treat you that bad, go pay your own rent, go buy your own groceries, go live your own life. Because you don't like me telling you things. I know this is strong, but we're talking about a father's heart. A father knows. He's not thinking about right now. He's thinking the future, because our kids, unfortunately, the kids nowadays, I see little kids cursing out adults. When I was little, that adult would have slapped me. On the way home, every adult would have slapped me, and then my parents would have slapped me. You would have been corrected. If not slapped, you know what I mean? They would have corrected you, right? They would have corrected you. Nowadays, that don't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Because we think that we know better how to raise our kids. And that's why we have a generation of immoral kids now. They don't respect. I admire that I come across some young people and they still say, yes, sir, no, sir. That means a lot to me. I said, man, their parents raised them well. But it's few and far between to do that. And here, because what I'm trying to say is, where are the Isaacs of the world that obey their parents? Unconditionally. Because they know that their parent wants nothing but the best for them. But what do they say? I'm grown. I know what I'm doing. Well, you know what grown people do? They go to work. They pay their own rent. They pay their own bills. Right? They lead their own life because they're grown. That's what grown people do. So why don't we say, okay, why don't you take your grown self and grow up? You know why? Because we know they're not ready. And we're scared for them. They might suffer for a little bit, but later on, they'll thank you for it. I thank my mom and dad for being strict with me. And I remember my dad told me one time, he said, you're going to know why you do what you do when you have, why I do what I do when you have your own kids. I'm like, yeah, whatever. See, that's the problem. They don't have children. They don't have someone. They're living their life for themselves. As a parent, you're just not living your life for yourself, but it's you and that child. You're responsible for them. Not that child, right? 18, 19, 20. They are only responsible for themselves. So guess who they're only concerned about? Until they have their own children. And then they're going to realize all the consejos you gave them, all the advice, like, wow. You're going to go back and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me. Thank you. I know I didn't appreciate it then, but I appreciate it now. And I know what you went through. And then you're going to ask this question. I didn't treat you as bad as they're treating me, right? Right? I didn't do nothing what they did, right? You're always going to ask that question. And trust me, your parents are going to say, whew. Is that you don't remember, all right? Anyway. So Abraham reached out and took the knife to kill his son. Again, prophetic. The father, according to the book of Isaiah, threw his wrath on his son to punish him, the body of Jesus, for our sins, our transgression. 11. Just then an angel of God called to him out of heaven, Abraham, Abraham, yes, I'm listening. Now, the father told Abraham, go and sacrifice your son, right? And go to where I'm taking you. But now we see that an angel of God said, Abraham, yes, I'm listening. Don't lay a hand on that boy. Don't touch him. Now I know how fearlessly you fear God. You didn't hesitate to place your son, your dear son, on the altar for me. That's why I want to use this person. But the reason I brought up God and an angel, because God knew how Abraham will respond. And if you're not careful, you're going to think like, wow, God, because it says, now I know. God already knew Abraham. God already knew what he was going to do. But an angel of the Lord, a messenger of the Lord, stopped him. God sent an angel of the Lord to stop him. He said, now I know. In other words, his sacrificial obedience ministered to that angel and ministered to the heavenly places, ministered to all the angels, because they were all watching, because they didn't know they're not God. None of them are God. But yet, the Father knew. The Son knew, and the Holy Spirit. And yet they were able to see. What was this telling the world? That there's hope for mankind. That no matter how rebellious, how disobedient we are, there is always hope. How do I know this? Abraham's first son, was he born out of the spirit or of the flesh? Ishmael. Out of the flesh. Hagar said, hey, go take my handmaid and, go sleep with her and give me maybe that's how we're going to have it. They took matters into their own hands. He disobeyed God. He didn't trust God. But yet now God is showing the world and us that there's hope. That maybe you dropped the ball once. Maybe you failed once. Maybe you let go once. But it's never too late. It's never too late. Now with God, He'll always give you another chance. So maybe as a parent you failed. Guess what? It's never too late. It's never too late. Say, God, I surrender. Show me what I must do. But I love what it says here. He did not hesitate to place your son, your dear son, on the altar. He didn't hesitate. In other words, when God tells you to do something, you move. That's faith. Not pausing. And he said he wasn't willing, he didn't hesitate to lay. What was the most precious thing to Abraham at that time? His son. What is your most precious thing that if God was to ask you for, would you give it to him? What thing? What people? What plans? What place? What home? What would you not give up? Of God, this is yours. We say it all the time. Everything I have belongs to God. And then God goes, okay, give it back. Give it back. It's mine anyway. Because we say a lot of things because it sounds Christian, it sounds right, it sounds holy. But if your heart is not backing it up, don't do it. Like a lot of people say, God, I don't care, send me. I remember I made that statement, and guess what? God sent me, and not where I wanted to go. Be careful. I said this once, and it's been a while. God is going to challenge every word that comes out of our mouth. You say you trust him, God goes, okay, trust me. In the middle of your circumstance, in the middle of your storm, in the middle of your crisis, trust me. He didn't hesitate. What is God asking you today? To put on the altar. Give it to him. Your plans, your dreams, whatever. Don't hesitate. When you know it's God, because your heart starts pulsating, you feel that burning in there. When you know it's God, don't hesitate. Just do it. Verse 13. Abraham looked up. He saw a ram caught by its horns in the thicket. Abraham took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So what did they ask for? A sheep, not a ram. Why is this symbolic? Because God was trying to show us that this story of what we're talking about, Abraham and Isaac, was symbolic, and God was not going to put a lamb there because the lamb that he was going to put on the altar was Jesus Christ. That's why he didn't put a sheep there. He put a ram, another animal to sacrifice, because it was about the sacrifice, not about the obedience. You follow me? That's why there was no sheep there, no lamb, but they were asking for lamb. And Abraham named that place God Yireh. God sees to it. That's where we get the saying, on the mountain of God, he sees to it. In other words, if God is asking you for something, God will see to it. God is never trying to take something away from you. We always think he is, but it's that you're holding on. A hand that's closed cannot receive. So God needs you to let go. Why? Once it's open, now you can receive. Are you following me? So God is not trying to take something away from you. He's trying to get something to you. But because we're hesitant, because we're scared, this is why we need the true Father that have vision to go and do what God is telling them to do. In spite of their fear, take a step of faith. Because God will see to it that you're taken care of. Your family's taken care of. Everything you need, God will take care of it. If you really trust him. Can I prove it? Yes. That's where we get the saying, on that mountain God sees it. Verse 15, 18. The angel of God spoke from heaven a second time to Abraham. I swear God's sure word, because you have gone through with this, and have not refused to give me your son, your dear, dear son, I'll bless you. Oh, how I'll bless you. Isn't that awesome? The angels of the Lord, and here signifying Christ. I'll bless you. Obedience means obedient blessings. God, and you might say, but God has already blessed us with every spiritual blessing. Yes, he has. My question to every person, are they being manifested? The book of Ephesians chapter 1 verse 3 says, God has blessed us with every spiritual blessing. My question to all of us is, and those of you watching, are those blessings being manifested? Totally. All of them. I think most of us can say, no, they're not. Why not? Because of the obedience part. God cannot give to you if you're holding on. Maybe it was okay for a moment, but God needs you to let go. Not because he's trying to take it away. He's trying to get something better. Better. When you let go, I remember that my mom told me she stopped praying, God protect him, God help him, God save him. And she started praying, God, do whatever you got to do to get him where he needs to be. And that's when my life started falling apart. Right? What did she do? She let me go. She put me in God's hands. She said, God, I've been trying to do things my way. It hasn't worked. God, I surrender. You do what you think is best. And guess what? Look where I'm at today. So even though I suffered for a while, and she probably suffered with me, along with my family. And they probably suffered with me for a while. But looking at it now, wasn't it worth it? Wasn't it worth it? It helped me grow, it helped my faith grow, helped me trust God, it helped me learn obedience, immediate obedience. He said, I'll bless you, how I'll bless you, and I'll make sure that your children flourish. This is where I wanted to take you. A true father understands that their obedience to God can affect their children, the same way their disobedience to God can affect their children. See, a true father is not just looking for themselves. They're looking for their children and their children's children, their legacy. Our conduct, our actions are affecting our legacy. What legacy are you leaving? Because we're not going to be here forever. My prayer is the legacy that I can leave, besides you guys and those that are listening, is that my family will continue to serve the Lord from generation to generation to generation to generation, and become everything that God wanted them to be, and that nothing will be without them now. Like the stars in the sky, like the sand of the beaches, and your descendants will defeat their enemy. Your descendants. That act of obedience at that moment, of sacrifice at that moment, led to future blessings, not just for him, but his descendants. And said, you will defeat your enemies. All nations on the earth will find themselves blessed through your descendants because you obeyed him. The Bible says God is not looking for sacrifice, he's looking for obedience. So if you want to sacrifice, obey. This is a story of God, the Father's heart, and Abraham was symbolic of this by not withholding what was most precious to him, and also a true Father's heart, who is not concerned with the immediate future, but the distant future of his legacy and his family. In other words, my obedience today, your obedience today, is going to make the difference between your children, 4, 5, 6 generations, and them being blessed or not. Look at your children now. How are they? Are they following your same mistakes? Or are they following your same successes? And if you don't have successes, then what can they follow? Because children learn more from example than what comes out of your mouth. They watch it. They're like sponges. They're like sponges. Haven't you ever seen a little kid that you tell say bye and they look at you, but when you go like this, they raise up their hand and they go like this? Because they're watching. That's how we are. We're watching. And the world is watching the children of God, how we really conduct ourselves. They're watching, not just when we gather together, but all the time. And the Father was willing to give up. God the Father was willing to give up what was most precious to him, which was Jesus Christ. The book of Romans 8:32, it says, he did not spare even his own son, but gave him up for us all. Won't he also give us everything else? If God did not withhold the most precious thing to him, his son, Jesus Christ, won't he give us everything else? And as a father, if you have the ability, won't you give your children the best of what you're able to? The Bible says, us being wicked know how to give good gifts to our children. The Father's heart. But you need to know when to do it and when not to do it. That's the difference between a mom and a father. In most cases. The father knows. You know what? I'm not looking about the present future. In other words, what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm looking for the distant future and what's going to happen in the distant that God wants me to be, more importantly. Where is God directing me? What is He directing me to do? And then you have to act. Because God starts putting things in your heart a year or 2 or 3 or 5 before they even happen. And then one day He says, okay, the time has come for what I put in your heart to be birthed. Remember, if God did not withhold His Son, will He not give us everything else? God wants the best for us. What's the problem? We think we know what's best for us. God knows what's best. He knows that if you get this, it's going to take away from God. How many people have not prayed for a job, a better job, and God gave it to them, and now they stop coming to church? How many people have not prayed for a car, and they can drive everywhere except the church? They can't make it to church. But they're praying for a car. Are you following me? God knows us. He knows. Like some of you are praying for the lottery. Right? I want to hit the lottery. I want to hit the lottery. Right? I'm going to bless the kingdom. No, I'm going to bless the kingdom. I'm going to bless my pastor. I'm going to bless the church. I'm going to bless. God knows you. If it's hard for you to give your tithes now, trust me, when you got millions of dollars, por favor, don't deceive yourself. God knows. That's why you ain't winning. I hate to say it. Psalms 84:11. For the Lord God is our sun and our shield. He gives us grace and glory. Grace is what we don't deserve. Glory is definitely what we don't deserve. Because He wants to share His glory with us. The Lord will withhold no good thing from those who do what is right. Read that again. The Lord will withhold no good thing from those who do what is right. That is awesome. That He is not going to withhold no good thing from you. You might have to do like Abraham and sacrifice something right now, give up something right now, but trust a father's heart, a true father's heart. Look at the future, long term. What people, what plans, what places, what does God tell you? Let them go, let them go. I'm going to share my own testimony, and this I'm going to finish. I remember when I was converted the first time as a teenager, I knew a lot of Bible, but for 6 months of being converted, I was already teaching other teenagers. God's grace, I did. But everything I knew wasn't in here, and I wasn't applying it. So eventually, what happened was I started going back and hanging with bad people, wrong people, because I thought I was ready. I'm going to save them, I'm going to save them, I'm going to save them, I'm going to save them. Not knowing that the one that saves is God and not man. Well, this time when I got converted, after I backslid, or whatever you want to call it, for all those years, I told God, I want you to work with me and change me to be the man you call me to be. The father, husband, son, child you call me to be. And God worked with me. And God started working with me. And one of the things He's told me to do was, you got to cut off people. You got to stay away from them. You know how they are. You got to get rid of your get high buddies. You got to get rid of your drunk buddies. You got to get rid of visiting those family things that is going to corrupt your mind. You're not ready yet. Eventually you can. You're not ready yet. And a real good friend of mine that I consider him a brother, we grew up as teenagers together, I had to stay away. And it was painful for them, but it was painful for me as well. But more for them. They were like, man, church took you away from me. And I heard that too. Like, wow, church and God is more important. Eventually, years later, when I was more solid, when that person got in trouble, guess what they called? Because they needed someone with faith to pray for them. And today, you know where they're at? Serving the Lord. This is not for my glory, that's for God's glory. God was showing me then a father's heart. That sometimes you gotta let go of the people close to you, the places close to you, the plans, ideal. God, here it is. This is you. Direct me. If not, then take it away. But long term, on hindsight, I'm going, man, it did pay off because he's serving the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? So whatever it is that God is, or whoever, or whatever, God is telling you let go. Think future, like a real father. Think future. God will withhold no good thing. They might have to go through their process like we did. Stop saying, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. What you went through made you the man or woman you are. And if you believe that you are more mature, more obedient, that you know that you love God more now because of what you went through, they understand they have to go through their own thing as well. Now, I'm not telling you to give them advice and counsel, but I'm telling you, give it and let it go. Let it go. God will withhold no good thing for those who do what is right. Amen? Let's give the Lord a clap offering.